Cool. So we're going to do some training on how to do a funnel audit. Well, multiple ways of doing it. I'm just going to show you guys the way that I do it. And I will actually give you guys this sheet that I use and then how to actually fill it out. But I know that some people who are going to be watching this video, because I think that I'm going to make this available to, I think I'm going to make it available to everyone, because I think that this training is going to help a ton of people, especially as we go into the new year. And so many people don't have an understanding of why what they're doing isn't working. And so what I want to accomplish with this is all of you guys getting that 30,000 foot view of what we are doing, because I've seen so many people. I just had strategy planning sessions with my $7 members, and I just had strategy planning, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Strategy planning sessions with my Lean on Laurel students who are getting my personal help every single month in order to make all of this happen. If you want info on that, just go to, let's see, it is adswithlaurel.com/mentorship and get all the information that you need about Lean on Laurel. Have me as your mentor in your corner. But what I want to actually talk about is, how do we measure success? And most of all, how do we troubleshoot the things that are actually going to move the needle? Because I see so many people that want to change their ads, but their ads aren't even the issue. And I have people that want to change emails or change their webinar, and there's not even enough people on the webinar to even measure whether or not that webinar is successful. They're measuring the wrong things that they, in their minds, equate to success. Okay, so today I'm going to actually walk you guys through, and I'm going to use one of my clients as a current example of how we do this. But before we get into that, you guys have to understand that there's an entire ecosystem involved. I don't like to say funnel. I like to say an ecosystem, because it is made up of organic posts. It's made up of paid traffic. It's made up of Instagram posts. It's made up of emails and blogs, Facebook groups. Now, some of you guys don't need all of this, right? Some of you guys just have an acquisition offer, right? This is how we get people to make a committed action to come into what I would call the ecosystem. And for those of you guys who are new, maybe you're watching this type of training for the first time, this is what I call the ecosystem. It's made up of organic content. It's made up of paid traffic. It's made up of emails. It's made up of something that I call value bomb landers that are in the form of like a blog post. And everyone's funnel in the ecosystem is going to be a little bit different. So if I talk about this acquisition offer, for me, it's a $7 a month program. For most of my agency clients, it's a webinar. And so this webinar takes people into a Facebook group invite, watch the webinar, which in my ecosystem, we call it a clarity piece, because it is the thing that gives people clarity that they need in order to move forward. And then that webinar typically goes to an application. So if people opt in for the webinar, right, they're going to get a reverse organic Instagram strategy. They're going to get some retargeting ads. They're going to get some emails. And they're going to, a large percentage of them are probably going to join my client's Facebook group. For me, I have a low ticket offer here. So people who buy my low ticket offer get put into a Facebook group. They watch my clarity pieces inside the Facebook group. Mine come in the form of 2 live Zoom coaching calls every single month. And then they join Lean on Laurel if they like what they see, and if they feel qualified and ready. So the thing that you have to understand is this ecosystem is made up of both organic and paid traffic. And I always recommend that my clients use both. So there are 2 ways people can enter the ecosystem. That's by either watching organic power content or paid content, paid power content, right? It's a $5 a day strategy that I have inside my $7 program. And they're going to enter through having engaged with the acquisition offer, whether that is a webinar, whether that is my $7 offer. There are two ways that people can enter the ecosystem. Like, think about this. If people don't opt into your webinar or people don't buy your low ticket offer, you can give them another way to enter. That is through paid ad power content. So you could see that this was designed to bring up your conversion rate and lower your ad costs. I'll give you an example. So the example that I'm going to give you guys here with this client, when she first came to me, her ad agency was only running ads to her webinar, and they were only doing one of these ads here. The only two things, well, let me back up. They were doing two things, right? They were sending traffic to her webinar, and they were launching this one ad. They were spending $10,000 to $11,000 a month in ad spend, and she was making about $50,000 to $60,000, which is not bad, right? How many of you guys would pay $10,000 or $11,000 to make $50,000? Well, that's $40,000 in your pocket, right? Well, what I did was I brought in the power content, retargeted people who were not watching her webinar, retargeted them to power content, and I put this entire, what I call the Fire 4, they're 4 ads, I call them the Fire 4. These ads are created to bridge the gap between what happens at the webinar and going to the application page. So those were the only two things that I messed with. And we immediately brought her ad spend down to $5,700 a month, and she cleared $120,000 that month. And that's been consecutive. So this ecosystem, super, super powerful. So now what I want to show you guys is that when you're using this ecosystem, okay, and I'm going to answer questions here in a little bit, you have to know that there's black holes, right? And so I teach my students how to look for the black holes, and you're going to see here, once we enter the data, the black holes are going to be obvious. Okay. But for those of you guys who don't know how to identify those black holes, so we're always going to have a black hole to cold traffic, right? People don't understand who we are, what we do. That's always, you know, a pretty big black hole, right? So there's cold traffic's always going to be a black hole. But let's say people opt in to watch your webinar. How many of you guys have ever opted into something and that webinar just sits in your inbox, right? Lots of times, right? So there's another black hole. It's a huge black hole. And this is where the most opportunity lies, okay? And then there's always a big black hole in the Facebook group. How many of you guys have Facebook groups that don't ever engage, right? We can't engage with people. We're never going to move them to, we're never going to move them to the next step of our funnel, right? That's our whole goal. And so right now we've identified black hole top of funnel. We've identified a black hole middle of funnel, where after they either buy a low ticket offer or they opt into a free thing, right? Big black hole there. And then there's a black hole inside the Facebook group. And so this ecosystem is built to be able to plug those black holes. So let me get to how we're actually going to measure and clearly see where those black holes are, okay? The first thing that I want you guys to note is that if we don't have enough top of funnel traffic, and when I say top of funnel traffic, I'm meaning people who are watching our power content or visiting our acquisition offer, right? If we don't have at least 500 people who are even visiting our sales page or our webinar landing page or becoming a lead, right? If we have a low ticket offer, we want at least 500 clicks for people to see this acquisition offer, right? And I like to say 500 unique clicks, not just 500 clicks, 500 unique clicks. Now, if you have a webinar, right, we need at least 500 people to become a lead, because we want to test the effectiveness of the entire funnel of everything that happens. And so if you have a lead generation like webinar, challenge, ebook, you want to make sure that you have at least 500 leads before you are doing a funnel audit. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough leads to get them through the funnel. The good news is people who have an acquisition offer with a low ticket offer, they don't have as many steps as something with a webinar. So before we can even do any type of audit, we have to make sure that we have enough traffic coming to our power content so that we can do our client accelerator 2-step. If you don't know what my client accelerator 2-step is a very robust organic strategy that leads to more conversations, and conversations are the fastest path to cash, right? If I can get someone to watch a video, comment for a cheat sheet, and I move them immediately to Messenger and move them to a phone call or move them to a sale, that's much faster than moving them through a funnel, right? So that's why I always tell people, like, power content strategies are super, super effective and super, super cheap. Funnels are super expensive because there's a lot of steps that people have to go through to have a conversation with us. But so now that we understand like all of these black holes, right? There's one here, okay? This is my funnel audit sheet, okay? Now, you're not gonna see the retargeting. There's retargeting ads here, there's retargeting reverse organic, there's retargeting ads here. On this sheet, as you can see, there's no retargeting ads, okay? But retargeting ads are kind of, they're irrelevant because retargeting ads are just lagniappe, what we call in South Louisiana, just a little something extra. And so I don't really measure the metrics of retargeting because they're just breadcrumbs leading people to what we ultimately want to do. Most important things, so if I grab this little arrow here, most important things are how many conversations are we having? How many people are watching at least 25%? Remember, we need people to watch our content before we can send them to the rest of the ecosystem. These are our top of funnel traffic ads that go to our offer, okay? So, and then Facebook, we should be doing, so inside my Lean on Laurel program, I teach my clients there's 3 things that you should be doing in your Facebook group, and that's it. The main reason that Facebook groups fail is because people don't know how to move them through. And so I teach my students how to do a graduation framework. And it's made up of 3 things, okay? And then our open rates for our emails, and then our organic 2-steps, okay? If you don't know what that is, inside my $7 program, there's something called the Client Accelerator 2-step we're talking about. And as you can see, we're measuring the comments and the messages that we get, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys what that actually looks like. So one of my clients who I was just talking about, just got a webinar. And so we're running ads. If I go back and get this arrow. So we're running ads. These are her ads to her webinar. She doesn't have a bump because her whole goal is to do calls and get sales. So we're tracking number of conversations. We're tracking her 2-steps. We're tracking how her posts in her Facebook group are doing. And for those of you guys, I know there's a question here. How often do I fill out this? I fill this out every single month. And you're going to see why here in a minute. Because already, if you're looking at these numbers, right? So these are our CTR alls and CTR link click through. So this is the amount of percentage of people who are looking at our ads and clicking through. Here are the number of conversations that we're having with our paid content, our paid power content. This is our organic content. Her title was Pregnant Friends. She got 8 comments and she was able to move 2 of those people to Messenger. She had a holiday content about how to have a conversation with, she's an infertility coach. And so we talk about, how to manage friends, asking the question of why haven't you had a baby yet? Because they don't know that they have infertility. Anyway, that's irrelevant, but just know she got 59 comments on that and moved 38 people to Messenger. So you can see how this works out really well. And these are all of our open rates. Our emails are pretty good. Can't really complain about that. This is her conversion rate, average conversion rate from ad to webinar. That's 36%. 59, this month we got 59 calls booked from her webinar and she made 11 sales. Not bad. That's 11 sales at 6,000 a piece. That's 66,000. Could be better. We were at 6 figures a month. So I've been doing these ad audits to figure out where are the black holes. This her funnel worked for months. How many of you guys are familiar with that? Ads worked for a really long time. As a matter of fact, we didn't even have to touch our ads for a year and a half. It was easy peasy for me until earlier this year. Things changed in the market. We had to restructure her offer. So we're trying to get her back up there. She made just short of 100,000 because of our calls booked organically. This is just from ads. This happened organic. The rest of it happened organically and from her Facebook group. So that's why everything, right? All of this works together. So check this out. So if we see everything that's happening, what is the biggest, I'm gonna test you guys. What is the first black hole that you guys see? Okay. What is the first black hole? Where can we improve the most looking at this funnel from a 30,000 foot view? Got a couple of CTR all? Nope. That I'll show you how that works though in a minute. People say their conversations, well, close. No. So immediately, right? That's it. He got it. Look, calls. This is a huge black hole. Look at this. Okay. And this is what's important, right? Because people would be like, oh, my ads aren't working. Well, yes, they're working. Yes, they're working. It's, look right here, 59 calls and only 11 sales. If we can just get one extra sale, that's an extra $6,000. That's a huge black hole right there. So that's one of the things we have to look at is let's listen to those calls, right? What's happening? What's your sale? Why is your sales going down? What's another black hole? Actually, I'm going to pause right there. So someone mentioned CTR all, right? I teach you guys whenever you're troubleshooting your ads that you want your CTR all to be at least 3% and your CTR link click through to be at least 1%, right? So this ad's on point, right? On average, but could be better, right? Because if we can get this to 2%, more people will come through the funnel. That'll make this conversion rate rise and we'll end up getting more calls and probably more sales. So that's room for improvement. But here's the thing. If we improve this, right? If we improve this number right here, the 6%, 1%, without fixing this, more people are going to come to the funnel and more people are going to fall through this black hole. We don't want that. We want to plug this black hole, because if we can plug this black hole and get this up to, let's see, even, 15 sales versus 11, that takes it from 66,000, right? 6 times 4 is 24. So that takes her to 80 something thousand. So that takes her to 6 figures a month if we just change that one thing. So that's why this funnel audit is super, super powerful, because we want to be able to identify what's going on, right? And then as we're going and finding even more black holes, like in this organic 2-step. So check this out, right? Calendar we sent 46 people who qualified to a call. Why did only 19 book, right? That's another area that we can look at, right? Black hole right here. Every single month, I put these 2 black holes in 2 of the spots that I see the biggest improvement. When a lot of people want to go through there and look at her ads are doing okay. That's not the biggest problem. Yeah, could they be better? Absolutely. But look at the bigger black holes. And this is where a lot of people are like, well, just throw more money at it. Well, you're going to get even more people falling through this black hole. So this is exactly what I go through with my Lean on Laurel students, and every single month we're looking at this, like what went wrong, right? Some of them, they're posting and they're getting 0 comments. And so changing anything else in the funnel would be irrelevant unless we fixed how do we get more comments? How do we get more messages? A lot of people set their goals of making 10,000 a month, but they haven't even ever had a messenger conversation. You got to walk before you run, and you got to crawl before you walk. If you're not having messenger conversations, how are you going to have a 10,000? You have to go in the steps that you're doing. Like, if I would just send more traffic, this black hole would just get bigger and bigger, full of people who aren't closing, right? Gotta look at what our closer's doing. If I just let this, we would get lots more calendar sent and lots more people not booking calls. These are the two biggest that I see. And this is how I'm able to increase conversions for my students and my clients, because I'm able to identify these black holes because I keep track visually every single month. Now, do you have to do it this way? Absolutely not. But this right here is going to change your business. And as you can see, it's not just about paid ads. Look at this. We even track all the organic stuff, all the stuff in the Facebook group. Like, why? Another little black hole right here is, why did some of these comments, like why only 2 out of 12 lead to messenger conversation? You can see they're doing a really good job here. 13 calls out of this problem solving post. All of this is stuff I teach in the Lean on Laurel program, because all of the Lean on Laurel stuff is what I do with my agency clients. So I'm able to leverage and show my Lean on Laurel students, like, hey, this is what I did with my agency client today. How can we apply it to your business? So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that was helpful. If you're in Lean on Laurel and you want to figure this out, here's the video. What you want to do is you want to book a funnel audit call. And you're going to want to have this filled out, ready to come. And then I'm going to help you. We're going to identify where those black holes are. And we're going to fix the things that'll actually move the needle. Not worry about fixing things. Not worry about fixing things that aren't relevant right now to you. We need to get cash flow. Let's find the cash flow. Fill those black holes with cash. Anyway, hopefully that was super helpful. If you guys want to apply for Lean on Laurel, just go to adswithlaurel.com/mentorship and we'll get you in. I know there's a waiting list right now, but the waiting list isn't long. Yeah, and like I said, if you're in the Lean on Laurel program and you haven't booked your funnel audit, go ahead and do that. We'll take a look. Let's find those black holes later.